Welcome, Taurus and Taurus Cross Watchers, to your singles and new love read for March 2023. So we're going to get where you are, where you're headed, and what you need to know. And then we're going to pull cards for the next love interest, whether you're interested in them back or not, or in return or not, for Taurus Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. And that'll be timestamped in the description box below. Wow. So we have the Death card is where you are, and then where you're headed is the Strength, Eight of Wands with the Knight of Pentacles. So, and then what does Taurus need to know? All right then. Hold on for a second, guys. We have the Five of Cups. Taurus, I'm letting you know ahead of time I might call you out a little bit on this read, so fair warning. I actually feel that this might be specific, okay, but it's like maybe you have stopped wearing as much color in your wardrobe as you normally do. I feel like there's something here that you've started to almost kind of have a minimalist approach to. It's like maybe all of your clothing is now black. And I mean, of course, there's nothing wrong with that, but it definitely feels like it's something about your appearance has changed, which reflects a change within you. It's almost like you may have accepted your shadow side here, which, I mean, I almost want to say, like, kudos to you, because a lot of us never get there, right? Whatever it is, Taurus, I definitely feel like it almost feels like there's this big sweeping change, either that's coming in or that is on its way in. And I feel like you may have seen it coming, but you weren't able to do anything to stop it. And I feel like what I'm kind of picking up from you is almost this like defeat, feeling a bit demoralized, feeling like you're somebody that's normally very capable and you feel that you should have been able to stop whatever was happening, but you couldn't. And it seems to be putting you in an energy where you're starting to question yourself and your own capabilities, right? And I feel like it's almost like you know intellectually, like in your headspace, you know that that's not the case, but you can't help that that's how you feel. I feel like your mind, you're able to kind of overpower those feelings from an intellectual standpoint. I do feel like there may be times where those feelings kind of get the better of you, though. It doesn't feel like it's consistent or, all the time, but it is there. It almost feels like that energy of you may feel that really heavy emotion. And I feel like it's almost like you're in an area where you can't express it or you can't lean into it or you can't do anything about it, right? It's like you can't process it in that moment. And I feel like there actually may have been a lot of those moments where it's like you just weren't able to have the, emotional reaction that you so justly deserves for whatever was happening. And I feel like that kind of inner feeling of feeling like you somehow have failed yourself because you knew that you were more capable than the results presented. I feel like you actually kind of start to give yourself a bit of grace here. You know what I mean? It's almost like you this is kind of the energetics of like you kind of being in conflict with yourself kind of deal. It's almost like you bring a white flag to, a discussion, wanting to kind of just like, okay, everyone just put their swords down, like in a, kind of conflict with yourself. And I feel like you get there and it's almost like you don't really expect the other side to call a truce, but they do. You know what I mean? It's almost like something helps you to see, or maybe you just kind of come to the conclusion on your own that what you're doing, it's like it really isn't good for you. And that's not me telling you, not the cards telling you. It's sorry, that's not the cards telling you. It's you see that you kind of allowing yourself to believe, to have that narrative that, number one, it's not true, and number two, it's almost like you start to question, hold on for a second, why it's there. It's almost like if you don't actually think that about yourself, then why would you feel it if it hasn't been a narrative that you would give to yourself? So I feel like you might do a little bit of like internal digging and find out where that came from. And I feel like it may make you kind of want to be a little vindictive towards the person that planted it there originally. And it doesn't mean that you will, right? But that there's some, anger and frustration there. And I feel like even if you were to, even if you were to seek some sort of vindication or whatever, I feel like the moment you would walk up to that person, you'd see that the narrative that they put in your head, it's like they have a worse narrative in their head about themselves. You know what I mean? It's almost like that they would vehemently deny having influenced you in that way to your face, but then it's like walking up to someone and wanting some kind of like validation for the hurt that they've caused, but you walk up to them and realize that what they're doing to themselves, it's just like I feel like you just end up feeling a lot of pity for them. So where you're headed, we have the Strength, 8 of Wands, and the Knight of Pentacles here. So interesting combination here, Taurus. It feels like, hold on. I feel like you're going to have this almost like flurry of activity. It's like the wands usually represent messages, but I feel like today it's more, I feel like you had some sort of idea, some sort of plan of something that you wanted to do, or kind of a plan that you wanted to put into place. And I feel like it's like you were firm on what you wanted, but the path to get there, it's like you were still kind of allowing that information to come to you. And I feel like it just feels like you get this onslaught of stuff that you have to do. You know what I mean? It just feels like there's, for example, it's like, let's say you're going downstairs to do some laundry or something, right? But when you get there, you have to clean up this and you have to clean up that. And like, oh, now something's wrong with the washing machine. You know what I mean? It just feels like all of this stuff seems to kind of get in the way. And I feel like it starts to kind of pull out some of the joy about that thing, because there's so many pieces of little crap, garbage, like just kind of little things that shouldn't be in the way that are. And hold on. I feel like it almost feels like things, because I was kind of feeling for some of you, it could be that those little things that are getting in the way are things that you've ignored. But I'm not really feeling that for most of you. It actually feels for most of you that it's almost like there's just little, almost kind of like those little firecrackers, but the ones that spin around, if ever you've seen them, that you throw on the ground and they spin. It's almost like I feel like they seem to be distractions along the way, but they do have, it's almost like you may have had your heart set on like taking a certain path to get there. Maybe not all the steps to get there, but like that you wanted something to arrive in a certain type of way. And I feel like all this little crap is getting thrown in your face so that it's like the core of what you wanted stays there, but you start to eliminate some requirements of how it comes into your life because you're you have so much on your plate. It's like some stuff has to get, you only have so much brain storage space kind of thing. I mean, this isn't obviously the actual case, right? You're not a computer. But it's like the energetics of only having so much storage space in your brain, and that you have to kind of start eliminating certain things so you can focus on what's in front of you. And I feel like, I mean, of course, Taurus, this is what you guys are known for, right? Slow and steady wins the race. And you guys, you never give up. And I feel here that when you get through, it's almost like this might sound super strange, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's almost like you've gone through a car. Oh, for God's sakes. Hold on, we'll try one more time. If I can, I'm just going to put it down. There we go. It's almost like you've gone through a car wash, and everything that was kind of covering, or kind of like, let's say, for example, this is a coin, but it had like a bunch of layers painted over it, and you've gone through the car wash, and now all of those layers are gone, and you're just left with the core. And I feel like whereas in this energy, before all this little crap happened, there were so many possibilities about how you could do things that you were, it's almost like you were trying to incorporate, all of them or most of them or whatever, right? And I feel like going through all this almost kind of like nitpicky, not that you were being nitpicky, but just all this little crap that won't get out of the way, it seems to have helped you gotten to the core of what you really truly wanted. And it feels like it's a bit of a new beginning. I feel like there's still some frustration there, kind of giving, your recent past, this energy here, this side eye. Like, did you have to make it so freaking annoying? You know what I mean? Like, I could have refined it another way, could I not? It does seem like there's some frustration there. So what you need to know, we do have the Five of Cups here. I want to say that it's almost like you feel you should spend more time grieving what you've lost. It's almost like you want to, like, obviously these three cups have been knocked over, but it's like you see the two cups behind you, and it's almost like you're keeping a close eye on them. It almost feels like you want to kind of just grab them and run, and not out of fear, just out of this, like, it just feels like there's this inner drive, like, get the cups, almost like before somebody else takes them. It's almost like, how do I say this? I feel like that whatever those other two cups are, that it's something that you need to, that like something similar to this may come back around, but if you don't grab onto this, that you're going to be stuck there looking at these knocked over cups. So it just feels like, hold on. It's not like you're paralyzed and you can't move. It just feels like you're waiting for something. It's almost like you're waiting to release the last bit of hurt or the last bit of grief. Whatever it is, I feel like when you have processed this, you seem to pick this up, and it's almost like because you leave all of whatever pain from the past was an issue for you, you really truly leave it in the past. And I feel like it makes you feel really free, like you can kind of walk forward with these two cups without feeling like you've left something behind. So for those of you with your sun in Taurus, who's next? Real quickly. We have the Eight of Wands again. Okay. I feel like this person is breathless a lot. It's almost like they run everywhere. I mean, obviously that isn't going to be the case for everybody, right? Seven of Swords at the bottom of the deck. It just feels like it's somebody that is in a rush to hurry up and wait, if that makes sense. Excuse me. It's almost like this person is somebody that talks a good game. You know what I mean? I feel like they can they act like they can do this and they're going to do that. Like, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. But when it really comes down to doing it, it's like they're all talk, no action, right? I feel like they just kind of like being involved in the discussion. But when it comes down to putting in the work, it's not that they're lazy or that they, this or that. I just feel like it wasn't actually anything that they wanted in the first place. They just wanted to be involved and feel accepted. I do feel that this person, it's almost like they feel that if they don't agree and accommodate with others, or it just feels like they assume that they'll be left behind. And it's made them so that it's like they might dominate the conversation. They might be very outspoken and this and that. But it's like if you have a real one-on-one conversation with this person, they're actually not that opinionated. They just seem to come across that way so that people kind of don't mess with them, if that makes sense. All right. So for those of you with a Taurus moon, we have the Nine of Cups reversed. Okay. So Taurus, I'm going to say this is in the most diplomatic way possible. I feel like this person is really going through a lot, and it's like they're in the thick of it, right? And I feel like they kind of want someone that they can dump on here. They seem to want somebody that they can talk to about all their problems, but it's not because they want to solve them, right? It's like they just want to talk about the same problem incessantly, right? Or it's like it's that type of person that it's like someone's always out to get them, you know what I mean? And like sometimes you go through periods where things are a little bit tricky and there's more than one element that's kind of trying to gut punch you. But this person, it's like they seem to see themselves in that people are always trying to victimize them. So it's like they're always complaining. They're always I'm gonna kind of half swear here. It's not really swear. They're always bitching about something. They're always kind of like, oh, well, let me tell you about this person that did this, and can you believe that? And they're doing that because of this. It's like they hop, skip, and jump to assuming that they know why people are doing things. And I feel like they kind of take it as a personal affront. And I feel to a certain extent that they're kind of looking for somebody that they can, it's almost like they want to pick up all their problems and put them firmly in your lap. And then they're going to go out for the day and come back and they have just as many problems as they did before. They're going to dump them, you know what I mean? And they just kind of like keep bringing more and more of that to the people that they're around. It feels to this person that they feel a lot better after they, talk about it. But the people that they're talking to, I feel like there's like an energetic exchange. So this person feels like a lot lighter after doing that. But the person they were talking to, it's like, it seems to really take up a lot of their mental energy and their headspace. You know what I mean? It just feels like this person may tell like half a story or half a truth, and then kind of pepper it in with things that they, kind of embellish things. It's that energy of like the most dangerous lie is the one that has a string of truth to it, right? So it's like this person seems to flip stories, or not flip them, but like distort them so that it's always something somebody else has done. And I feel like it actually seems to become pretty exhausting to the people that they're around, because those people start to look at it like, well, this person must just be victimized all the time. And I actually kind of feel like because of the process that you're going through and all of the energy that you're in, this person isn't going to get anywhere with you. I feel like if they try that sort of thing with you, it's like they're just going to get either a blank stare or you're not going to respond. It's almost like if they just drone on and on and on and on about that, you're not, it just feels like it almost might be, it doesn't even feel that it's necessarily a conscious decision on your part. I just feel like you disconnect from the conversation when you see what's really going on with them. So, for those of you with a Taurus rising, we have the Magician. Okay. The Three of Wands here. 1 second. You know what I'm kind of getting from this card today? It's almost like I feel like this is the kind of person who a lot of people may look at them as foolish or unintelligent, but they're not. It's almost like a lot of people really don't give this person the credit that they're due because they go about certain things and it seems like in an eccentric or a I want to say peculiar, but it's not quite, peculiar sort of thing. It feels more that it's like, for example, let's say somebody builds a fence that's like a circle or a square, right? It's like this person's going to build a fence that looks like a lightning bolt. You know what I mean? They just want to do things differently. And it's not to stick it to other people or to prove it to anybody. It's like they have this, there's a method behind their madness. And I feel like most people just perceive the madness in them. They don't look a little bit deeper. It's like this person seems to have this kind of master plan. And I do feel here, Taurus, that it does feel, okay, that they would like you to be a part of it. I do kind of want to caution you here, though, because I feel like, okay, I just want to be really clear. The cards aren't saying to do this or to do that. It's just to keep an eye open for it. This person may see other people as pawns in a chess game, and not that you're a pawn, okay, or they're trying to take advantage of anybody. It's just, it's important that you get to know this person well enough to see how they like see other people or the value that they place on other people being in their life, because I feel like that will be indicative of whether or not this person is looking for someone to really be on their team or if they're looking for another piece for their chessboard, I do feel that this person does genuinely want to be loved. I feel like something's happened recently that may have opened their heart. And it's almost like if you were to get involved with this person, which you may not, of course, depending on what your intuition is telling you about their behavior. It feels like hold on. It's almost like they seem to be really open about things, but they're not. It just feels like it's kind of like that first relationship after they've made an internal change. And I feel like it's very jerky, like driving a standard or a manual car, learning how to do it, and I feel like they do seem to want to kind of conquer you, not in a like they want to control and own you sort of way, but there seems to be some that it just like they do have quite a bit of desire here for you. I feel like they may be the initiator of that sort of stuff. They seem to like the thrill of the chase, and it's like the longer you evade them, the more it's like, what's that saying? I don't know, I can't remember the first half of it, but to them it's like the longer the wait, the sweeter the fruit. So for those of you with a Taurus in Venus, or I guess it would be Venus in Taurus, right? So we have the High Priestess with the Queen of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So I'm kind of getting that this person isn't a big talker. I feel like they may have been, because the Queen of Wands is at the bottom of the deck, they may have been the Queen of Wands previously, but I feel like they've gone through this like major upgrade and they're now the High Priestess. So it's like they have that passionate kind of like go-getter side of them that they can pull on if they need to. But I feel like for the most part, they're more a High Priestess now. I feel like they are, it's the energy of somebody that like actively walked away from something that they didn't want to have to walk away from, but they did because they had to. It's the energy of somebody that chose themselves and grew quite a bit from it. It's like if people, hold on for a sec. This person seems to have an incredible amount of self-control. And it's like, yes, part of it is self-control, but the other part of it is like people kind of can't get inside them. People can't get into their center, their core. It feels like there's kind of like a frenzy or a flurry of activity going on inside them that seems to be quite, it's like they've got a whole, they've got a whole world going on internally, right? I feel like this is the kind of person that they could kind of like visualize any experience. I feel like they have this whole other world kind of going on up in their head. I feel like they're not really going to be the kind of person that's going to approach you. They do seem to feel like there's elements of themselves that they have to hide. They do kind of, it's almost the energy of like this person has something that they do that's not mainstream or not like, you know, broadly socially acceptable. So it's like they hide most of it, but they leave enough of it out that people that know what it is would know that they're into it. And I feel like that seems to bring a lot of attention to this person, but unfortunately it's not the attention that they want. And I feel like they keep kind of putting it's almost like they're fishing for they're fishing for like a person or a partner or whatever. But I feel like it's like whatever bait they're putting on their hook it's like it's the wrong, like buoyancy, or it's not moving correctly. You know, sometimes they have like those plastic lures or something. It's like they're using the wrong size bait for what it is they want to catch. I feel like that if they are unsuccessful with you here, I feel like that's why. It's almost the energy of somebody that doesn't actually know how to draw people into them. I feel like it's like they do when they're not thinking about it, but when they try to actively do it, it's almost like they seem to put so much energy into it that it kind of pushes it away, if that makes sense. So I think I'll leave it there, Taurus. If you've made it to the end of the video, which maybe only the Venus and Taurus will make it here, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I do have the mini weeklies coming out on Sunday, and then next week will be kind of a bit of a different reading, so please keep an eye out for that if you're so inclined. And we'll see you on the next one. Much love. Bye.